The photos are okay. Good morning. It is Tuesday, as you're probably well aware, which means it is time for another photo vlog. Photo vlog Tuesdays. It's not very catchy, so I probably won't stick, so don't get used to that. But yeah, that's the point of today. Another photo vlog. Let's get straight into it. I don't mean to alarm anyone, but I appear to have lost the book. It's right there under my coffee mug. Never mind. You know what the drill is. This is strange. If you don't know the drill, go back and watch the other ones of these, because we're using the Photocrafty book and we're going to do some random creative photography today. Because it's lockdown and we want to stay creative. And why not? I don't know if you can see, but my glasses are so dirty right now. 6, 4. I'm not gonna say it. You know what it's for. I'm not gonna say it. Oh, I wanted to do this one. Vintage Vision. So I've already read this for because I wanted to do this anyway. So basically, I've got to get arts and crafty. We've got to cut up. We've got to make some sort of tube thing to go around. Luckily, I have a Rolleiflex. Otherwise, this one wouldn't work. To go around the Rolleiflex, to then create some sort of mounts. Right, let me show you. So we need to make something like that. Is that in focus? Yes, we need to make something like that. So the Rolleiflex in the bottom, we put our camera in the top, and so when it looks down on the Rolleiflex, bear with. Hi, yeah, that's me, yo. When it looks down the Rolleiflex, that takes the photo. Instead of using Rolleiflex film, we're going to get a digital photo looking down the Rolleiflex. So did that make sense? I don't know if that made sense. It made sense in my head, but if it didn't make sense, give me a couple minutes in video time, not in real life, because it's going to take me a while, but it'll make sense. I need some cardboard. Okay, DIY tube is complete. It was actually quite easy to put together, to be fair, and it's not exactly a complex thing to make. So we're gonna go get some shots with this now. The first thing I think of when I think of old vintage cameras is they always seem to be like plants and flowers and stuff is what's used with, is the style of photos taken with vintage lenses and vintage cameras. I don't know why that's a thing, but it's the first thing that comes to my head when I think of photos with vintage cameras. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna go out in the garden and we're gonna get some shots technically with the Sony, but through the viewfinder of the Rolleiflex. This is a weird concept, but I think it's quite cool. I like this. So yeah, we're gonna do that. But first things first is I need a coffee.
I remember the day when we started talking. We were kids and I knocked down all of your mobiles, but you did not seem to mind at all. We took our bikes to the lake after school each day and skipped many stones from the beach, and one thing you said was, listen, I will have your back going. And now we're grown up, I don't really see you enough. There's too much to be done, it's no fun. But even if we're far apart, I know where we belong. Haven't changed a bit in my heart. Your words have never been wrong. You are my own safety zone. You're solid like a granite stone.
Okay, so the wind out here is absolutely horrendous. So it's going to blow out my audio if I try and do this standing up. So yeah, I'm going to take some shots now. I'll overlay right now what it looks like through the Sony looking down into the Rolleiflex. And yeah, I'm gonna go get some shots now, and then we'll take a look at how they came out. We've encountered a problem. The box isn't big enough, so when the camera goes all the way in, it's too close to the Rolleiflex. It's not within the minimum. It's not within the minimum focusing range, so it's too close to the Rolleiflex. So I'm gonna need to DIY this again and make the box extension longer. DIY extension is done. We've extended the tube and it now can focus on the thing. So now let's actually put this to the test and give it a go. Okay, so sheltered update time. This is really hard. It's a lot harder than I was expecting it to be. I've swapped over to the Nikon, which I was using to film footage of me using it. Because that's got a longer focal length on it, because this only goes up to 70mm, whereas that goes up to 105. It's easy to get closer to the sensor of the. It's easy to get closer to the viewfinder on the Rolleiflex with the zoom on that, and then get the photos. But the issue I've had is I had to crank the ISO right up, and that's not great in low lights. They're going to come out really grainy. But it's the best way I've found of getting these shots. So we're going to get some more shots of that, and then, yeah. I've just realised I'm really stupid, because literally yesterday, for my birthday, I got a adapter so I can mount my old Nikon lenses onto my Sony. So I could have just used that to solve the low light issue, but get the focal length. To the point of, I'm going to go and do that right now. It was easy using the Nikon lens because I could zoom in more on the viewfinder, so that made it a bit easier, but I'm still not confident with these photos, to be honest. So I just recorded a whole section of me looking at the camera, at the photos for the first time, flicking through them and seeing how underwhelming they are. My screen recording then crashed and didn't save the screen recording, and I then realised I wasn't even filming on this camera for the entire time. So this is going well. Yeah, so basically, let's summarise that quickly. The photos are okay. I might be able to make a couple of good ones with a bit of editing. So we'll have a look. I'm gonna try that off camera and then we'll review them. The Sony lens worked a lot better because I could zoom in more on the viewfinder of the Rolleiflex. Them ones came out better. So we have got a couple of ones we can work with. I'm going to go through them all now, and then we will talk about them afterwards. But yeah, no mid-screen recording section of this video. And we are back. And so I have finished the edit on all the photos, and I have to say, I thought they were going to come out a lot worse than they have. So looking at it in the initial photo straight out camera, it has all the blackness around the viewfinder from the box, because obviously the wider angle of the lens. Then there's the fact it's off wonky, there was no editing, so the highlights are a bit blown out because it was really hard to adjust for that and compensate for highlights and shadows and everything, and it just looked horrendous straight out of camera. However, once I cropped it down to a square image just around the viewfinder, straightened it up, did a little bit of an edit, it was really hard to correct the highlights and shadows because it was through a viewfinder. It wasn't taking in the actual light, it was taking in the light that the viewfinder was picking up. So the editing was a bit more delicate. Yeah, there you go, that's what I want. The editing was a bit more delicate with these photos, but once I got an edit down, ran it across a lot, made adjustments each one, and they actually came out a lot better than I expected. As you saw in the video, I had no hopes for this at all, but final products came out a lot better than expected. So yeah, I've got 9 shots that we'll go through real quick. So this is the first one of some daisies. So first thing is, in the bottom right of all the photos, there's this circle. You can't really tell from the photos, but that is actually a what's it called? Like a spirit level. So it's so inside it is, there's, I don't know how the spirit levels are made, water and a bubble, I'm guessing. And then that obviously that helps you when you're looking down. It helps you make sure that your photos are straight when you're using the Rolleiflex properly. So that's what that is. The rest of it, obviously the viewfinder was quite dirty because of the age of the Rolleiflex. I'm not 100%, I'm going to Google that real quick. Okay, so between 1949 and 1951 is when I think this model was made. So that's 70 years old. So the lens is dirty, the viewfinder is dirty, the lens is dirty. Obviously it's just got general age. So yeah, none of the photos are particularly in that much focus, but they look like they're taken with an old school camera, and that's fine because they were taken through an old school camera in a roundabout way. But yeah, they just look retro, and I personally think that's sick because don't get me wrong, I wasn't expecting crystal clear images or mad sharpness or anything like that because of the way these photos are being taken. So this is the first one of some daisies, barbecue, house in the background. Just looks old school and retro as cool as hell. Next one is of the garden. As you can see, the sky is a bit more overexposed. As I say, it was really hard to get the exposure right. I might have been able to pull that down a bit more actually. Got a couple of Izzy, just being cute, playing with football. There you go, another one of Izzy. These ones actually came out quite well. I really like that one. Actually, is it the next one? There's another one of Izzy laying down, looking cute. It's this next one. This one I like because you can almost see a bit of detail around the eyes, and you can tell she's looking at the camera now. I really like that. I think it's just a really cool retro old school photo. There you go. There's another one of the garden with the sky. There you go. I've got exposed the sky a lot better in this one. There's another one. I tried to put more depth in this one. So this has the ball in the foreground, out of focus, and Izzy's in the background, kind of in focus. I think she is in focus. As you see, all the dirt and grain and everything is just dirt on the viewfinder. It's all gives it this really retro effect, and I really like it. This one's one of my favourites. This is one of the daisies pointing kind of. Are they daisies? Yeah, daisies. This is one shot through the daisies, getting a couple of them slightly in focus, some of them out of focus. It's really cool. I think these Rolleiflexes are f2.8 fixed. I'm not 100% sure. From what I'm gathering. But yeah, that's it. That's all the edited shots. As you can see, they've all got this really cool old school effect, and you can tell it's been taken through a vintage camera, an old school camera. I say it's like 70 years old. I love it. I love stuff like this. That's why I did the vintage lens video last week. I just love stuff like this. I think it's wicked. As always, it was a lot of fun. If you've got one of these cameras, I'd recommend it. It was a really good way to stay creative today and to have some fun with it, and getting artsy fartsy with making the box of DIY-ness and then trying it, and then the fact it was a bit of like a disappointment, but then it turned out to be actually quite good. It's quite good because I genuinely thought, I didn't think any of these photos were going to be any good at all, and they turned out, I'm actually really happy with them. They're cool photos. It's cool to have done. It's a cool thing to do. It's a good way of using a 70-year-old camera, especially considering I haven't got the film for it. I wouldn't even know where to get the film for that camera. But yeah, it was fun. But yeah, that is it for this week. That is it for this photo vlog. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, please drop a thumbs up down below. It does massively help out. I say that every time, but it does. Subscribe if you want to see more of the content. All the other stuff that YouTubers tell you to do. Notification bell, all that stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.